Shabbat Shalom, my friends. Well, we are finally back home after a 2-week period in which I posted first in New York City and then from Atlanta. It's simply great to be back in my highly sophisticated, state-of-the-art broadcast studio. I am actually recording this posting during the waning hours of Lag BaOmer. I hope that you took time on Thursday to walk outside to enjoy the power and beauty of nature, and maybe even to share in a very traditional barbecue. Our countdown to Shavuot, to the actual celebration of the giving of Torah, is moving toward its conclusion. June 5th and 6th are rapidly approaching. Our Sedra is Bahar, Leviticus 25, verse 1 and following. This is the second last Sedra in the third book of the Torah, Leviticus, Vayikra. This coming weekend, we will conclude Leviticus a week from now with a Siyum, and in 2 weeks, we will enter the book of Numbers, Bamidbar. Bahar, our Sedra, is all about time. In fact, the Sedra itself begins with a very strange time-related comment. Quote, "The Eternal One spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai." Bahar Sinai, that's the name of the Sedra, Bahar. God spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. Why is this strange? Because all of the rest of Leviticus is said to have been revealed to Moses during the wilderness wandering. But our Sedra, in casual disregard of chronology, takes us back to those days when the newly escaped slaves were still camped around the mountain of Revelation. But no matter. Time. When we get to the land of promise, in our Sedra it says we are to establish a Sabbath of the Eternal, a sabbatical year, in which we are to surrender all efforts to master the land. No plowing, no sowing, no harvesting, no pruning. We are to live for that 1 year off of whatever grows by itself. Sabbatical year. After 7 sabbatical years, there is another time-related commandment, the Jubilee year. The 50th year, 7 sevens, the next year, is to be a Jubilee year. This is when we are to hit a massive reset button, and all property is to revert back to its original owners. Interestingly, every few years, this particular passage is celebrated by those who choose to see, or who need to see, nascent Marxism in the Torah. After all, the Jubilee year would make it impossible for small elites to gather up the preponderance of property, thus condemning the masses to permanent poverty or even to starvation. Whatever property belonged to you and your family at the beginning of the 50-year period is now to be restored to you. That's the truly huge ethical demand here. Though truth be told, we don't actually know whether there ever was a time when the Jubilee rule was applied. A great moral idea, certainly, but might I say that calling it proto-Marxist is just a bit of a stretch. The text concludes its consideration of the power of time by noting that during the Jubilee year, indentured servants who had lost their property are to be released, and their property is to be restored. Time. Paul McCartney sang of time. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Shakespeare wrote about time in many places. In his 19th sonnet, time is a powerful force that brings down the mighty as well as the meek. The bard declares that we all end up, lovely picture, rotting in the earth, but he still begs that our youthful appearance not be too quickly taken from us. And T.S. Eliot dreamingly considers Heraclitus's assertion that all of everything is in constant flux. Maybe my most favorite contemporary encounter with time was a movie called The Clock. Do you remember it? The movie actually runs for 24 hours and consists of Hollywood film clips in which one sees clocks marking the march of the changing time. Now, I was not among those who could sit in the theater for a full 24 hours, but it was an amazing artistic achievement. We can describe time, battle time, yield to time, and even try to remove ourselves from time. The famous and coldly honest passage in Ecclesiastes has much to say about time and, I'm afraid, aging. When you get old, the light from the sun, moon, and stars will grow dark. At that time, your arms will shake, your legs grow weak. Your teeth will fall out so you cannot chew. Your eyes will not see clearly. Your ears will be deaf to the noise of the streets. You'll wake up when a bird starts singing. You will barely hear singing. You will fear high places. You'll be afraid to go for a walk. All this in Ecclesiastes. Your hair will become white like the flowers on an almond tree. You will limp along like a grasshopper when you walk. Your appetite will be gone. The passage ends. Everything is useless. The teacher says that everything is useless. Ecclesiastes also gifted us with the passage that begins, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under the heavens." So we move from the Beatles to the Byrds. In Psalms, our days are as a passing shadow. Time. The book of Daniel manipulates concepts of time so as to predict the end of time and the beginning of the apocalypse. And the Talmud cautions us that there come times of real threat when discussion must cease and action initiated. Eit lasot heferu Toratecha. Excuse me. Of course, that moves us to more contemporary times, to Salvatore Dali's famous painting of melting clocks, The Persistence of Time, which shows us a surrealistic vision of the mastery of time over human life. For Dali, we are little better than melting cheese. Even if we understand Einstein's theory of relativity, we do not understand time, we fear time, we embrace time, we are measured by time, we have too much time, and we never have enough time. We Jews are fixated on time. From the days of creation to our festival calendars to our life cycle celebrations, we believe without question that time is sacred. Heschel taught that when we lost our connection to sacred space, the temple, we held more tightly than ever to sacred time. Time draws sacred energy into our world, and time will mark the end of everything. Sabbatical years, Jubilee years, counting the Omer. Our text demands awareness of time from us, but it also calls upon us to give place within our thoughts to that which is timeless, to that which transcends hours, minutes, decades, to that which allows us to live with Ecclesiastes' undeniable truths. So who knows? By touching eternity, we might even be able to tolerate time's swift and inexorable flow. So have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat. We'll see you next week.